They say the moment before death is just a flicker, a slow fade into nothingness. But what if that moment stretched? What if in the space between your last breath and the unknown, something was waiting, watching, calling you forward? Sophia Hayes never believed in ghosts, in life after death, until she died. And when she crossed over, she didn't find peace. She found them. Sophia felt the impact before she even saw it coming. One moment she was stepping onto the street, the next, a blinding flash of headlights, the scream of tires, and then silence. No pain, no breath, just nothingness. Then she opened her eyes. She was standing in the middle of the road, rain falling in slow motion around her. But something was wrong. The city was empty. No people, no sound. The street lights flickered erratically, casting long, twisting shadows. The air smelled of something rotten, something old. And then she saw it, her own body, lying in the street, lifeless. A strangled breath caught in her throat. She stumbled back, heart pounding, except she had no heartbeat, no pulse, no warmth. This wasn't a dream, she was dead. A whisper slithered through the silence. Sophia. Her name, soft, close. She spun, eyes searching. The shadows seemed to shift, something moving within them, just beyond sight. The air thickened, pressing against her skin like invisible hands. Then, out of the darkness emerged figures, tall, motionless, standing at the edges of the flickering streetlights. Their faces were blurred, featureless, yet them staring, watching, waiting. A single figure stepped forward, taller than the rest, wrapped in something blacker than shadow itself. Its voice was nothing more than a breath, a sound that wasn't meant to exist. "You don't belong here yet." Sophia swallowed hard. "Then let me go." The thing tilted its head. The streetlights around her began to dim, one by one, the darkness closing in. There are rules. Its voice was inside her skull now, curling around her thoughts. One soul must stay, if another is to return. Sophia's blood ran cold, though she had none left to run. A trade. Somewhere in the distance she could hear it now. The faint beeping of hospital monitors, the frantic voices of doctors. They were trying to bring her back. But the figures were closing in. She turned, ran. The city warped around her, streets twisting in impossible directions. The whispers grew louder, voices pressing against her mind. Then she saw it. A door. It stood alone in the middle of the street, pulsing with faint white light. Something deep in her soul screamed at her, "Run to it." She sprinted, lungs burning, the figures behind her shrieking, their forms stretching toward her. The ground cracked beneath her feet, the world around her unraveling. She reached for the door. A hand, ice cold and clawed, grabbed her wrist. She turned, breathless. The figure loomed over her, those empty eyes boring into hers. "Choose," it whispered. Behind it, another shadow moved, smaller, fragile, a woman. Sophia's chest tightened. Her mother, gone 5 years now, standing there, eyes wide, sorrowful. Realization hit Sophia like a wave of ice, a soul for a soul. Her mother smiled softly. Then she stepped forward toward the figures, toward the dark. "No!" Sophia screamed, reaching out. But it was too late. The figures closed in around her mother. The darkness swallowed her whole. The grip on Sophia's wrist released. The door behind her swung open. A force pulled her back, fast, suffocating, merciless. A gasp. Sophia's eyes flew open, her lungs filling with air like she had never breathed before. Harsh fluorescent lights, the beeping of machines, a nurse shouting for the doctor. She was alive. But the hospital room was cold, unnaturally cold. And as she turned her head, her heart nearly stopped. In the dark corner of the room, something was standing there, watching, whispering. She wasn't alone. She would never be alone again.